Hello, pleasant day to each and every one of you. So today we're going to talk or discuss about the cell membrane and transport mechanisms that are involved within and among the cell membrane. So these are our objectives for today. So number one is to describe the structural components of the cell membrane. Last time we already discussed cell membrane in the parts and the function of the cell, but today we will dig deep and try to understand how does the transport mechanism in the context of cell membrane components. Second is to relate the structure and composition of the cell membrane to its function. So in addition to what I have said earlier, knowing the composition of the cell membrane can have or can give us a better understanding on how the cell membrane behave and how the cell produce or do its different metabolic processes. So these are our objectives. So you have to realize that cell membrane is surrounded by different components. No, cell membrane exhibit this term called selective permeability, which we have mentioned last time when we discussed cell membrane in the parts and function of the cell. So when we talk about selective permeability, it allows the enter or exit of the different molecule inside or outside of the cell with the help of different things. No, this can be aided through the help of the protein channels. This can also be helped or aided with the help of the phospholipid bilayer themselves. So those are just like a doorway, no? In analogy sa house, no? If we have doorway or pinto, this allows the enter or exit of anything that wants to enter or exit the establishment. So same goes with cellular membrane, no? There are different things that is essential also inside of the cell, and there are things that are not necessary anymore, or there are junk or waste that needs to be expelled outside of the cell. Hence, we have cell membrane transport mechanisms. So, recall lang natin, these are the different components, no? Cell membrane component is made up of phospholipid bilayer, no? We have the hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail. We also have in here in the example, no, the different integrated proteins. So we have here the protein channel as you can see in the left side, no. This serves for transport. We also have globular protein. We have cholesterol. We already know what cholesterol is, no. There are lipids or fats in other term. We also have glycolipids. This is just a fusion or pinagsamang glucose and lipids or fats. On the other hand, we also have the peripheral protein. When we talk about peripheral protein, when we hear the term peripheral, nakikita ito sa gilid, no? It does not go past through and through the cellular membrane, hence it is located in the periphery of the cell membrane. We also have the integral protein or globular protein na makikita natin na through and through ang kanyang structure within the cell membrane. We also have surface protein, no, for surface marker within the cell. We also have carbohydrates that are integrated also outside of the cellular membrane. So, ayan po ang ating iba't ibang parts and structure within and among the cell membrane. In addition to that, we also have cytoskeleton filament. In our previous discussion, we have discussed that cytoskeleton's function is for protection, or rather, it is for structural support, no? Or structural support na ating cell itself. Therefore, it is integrated within the cell membrane because cell membrane's function is for protection and cytoskeleton, on the other hand, is for support or maintaining the structural integrity of the cell. Hence, it is integrated within the cell membrane. So, recall ulit natin, no? Cell membrane's function is for the protection of the interior part of the cell from the outside part of the cell. No, just like what I have mentioned, there are things that wants to enters or exits the cell. Therefore, we have to have a mechanism within the cell, which is the basic unit of life, para na-filter natin kung ano yung mga dapat lumabas at pumasok. There are also cytoskeleton, microfilament that is made up of protein that is integrated within the cell membrane for attachment and also for support. No? Na-mention natin yung kanina. It also helps for maintaining the shape of the cell. And lastly, it regulates the cell growth through the balance of endocytosis and exocytosis. So these two terms might not be familiar with you, but when we hear the term endo, we are referring to inside. No, endocytosis is the process that happens inside of the cell, or there are molecules or materials that enters the cell. This process is what we call endocytosis. Next one, we also have exocytosis, no? When we hear the term exo, we means outside, no? And exocytosis is the process wherein the material is moved from inside of the cell to the outside of the cell. So one of the characteristic also of the cell membrane is it is known as the fluid mosaic. When we hear the term fluid, we are referring to gas and liquid. So you have to realize that the cell membrane is not a stay put within one space. No, they are currently moving depending on the temperature of the body of the specific cell. No, the fluid mosaic model of the plasma membrane or the cell membrane described as a fluid combination of cholesterol, protein, and phospholipid. Balikan natin, no, there are lipids and cholesterol and protein that is integrated within the cell membrane, or the cell membrane is made up of lipids and protein. Therefore, you have to realize that when specific cell is introduced to a specific temperature, their structure can also be modified. In protein, we call it denaturation. No? Denaturation is the process wherein protein structure is being altered. And in lipids naman, no, kung familiar kayo sa mga nagluluto dito, no, or if you are in the market, when you go to the section wherein they sell oil, what can we observe in the market? No, usually the oil there, when introduced to low temperature, easily solidify, no, or nagiging matigas when introduced to low temperature. So you have to realize that same characteristic happen with the cell membrane. Since the cell membrane is made up of lipids or fats, therefore, having a low temperature can make the structure of the cell membrane rigid. Okay? So, just like what I've mentioned, the lipid component of the membrane is responsible for its fluidity. So, kapag malamig ang environment, technically, it will not exhibit fluidity. Therefore, it will remain in its own position. But when we have high temperature, the fluid of the lipid or fats can be obtained and makikita natin yung fluidity niya, no? Na kanyang characteristics. So fluid mosaic model, and these are the different components. So first one, we have the phospholipid or the bilayer that forms the foundation of the cell membrane. We are already familiar with it. Cholesterol, which are tucked between the hydrophobic tails of the membrane and phospholipid. So meron na tayong phospholipid, meron pa tayong cholesterol, which are integrated within the cell membrane. Also, there are integral protein that are embedded in the phospholipid bilayer. They may or may not extend through both layers. So this just simply means that integral protein can be located pwedeng sa loob lang ng cell or intracellular, or pwede naman sa extracellular, or it can be located through and through, no? Or ibig sabihin, pwede siyang makita from the internal up to the external part of the cell membrane. Next one, we have the peripheral protein on the inner or outer surface of the phospholipid bilayer, but not embedded in the hydrophobic core. So you have to realize that the hydrophobic core are the lipid parts of the phospholipid. Therefore, the peripheral proteins are located within the periphery or sa gilid lang ng cell membrane. Hence, it is integrated or attached in the hydrophilic head only. Lastly, we have the carbohydrates, which are attached to the proteins or lipid on the extracellular side of the membrane, forming a glycoprotein and glycolipid. So carbohydrates are also located in the outside part of the cell membrane. Sir Mark, di ba ang carbohydrates ay ginagamit po sa pagproduce ng ATP with the help of our mitochondria? Yes, but you have to realize also that there are carbohydrates that are located also in the outside part of the cell, which are integrated or attached within the cell membrane. We call it free-flowing carbohydrates, or pwede rin naman it can form or fuse with protein or lipids. Hence, we call it glycoprotein. Glyco means sugar, protein means protein. So glycoprotein is just a fusion of glucose and protein, and glycolipids is just a fusion of lipids and sugar. So phospholipid, recall lang ulit natin, there are different part, no? It is composed of the glycerol, the pink one, no? This is the glycerol, and it is composed of two fatty acid. So makikita natin yung CH2 and CH3. Yung long chain na yan, that is the fatty acid. So there are two fatty acid that is located within the phospholipid, no? So recall lang natin, the non-hydrophobic tail, which is composed of two fatty acid, is connected to the glycerol. Okay, and then the glycerol is connected to the phosphate group, which is the color yellow one, no? Because it contains phosphorus. And then it is attached, the glycerol is attached to phosphate, and the phosphate is attached to another positively charged choline, no? Or green part na makikita natin. So technically, excuse me, the phospholipid is composed of three things. The hydrophobic tail is made up of two fatty acid, and the hydrophilic head is composed of glycerol, the pink one, phosphate, the yellow one, and choline, which is the green one that is shown on the picture. Okay? So also, we have mentioned this in the previous discussion that the arrangement of the phospholipid bilayer looks like this one, no? It is called a phospholipid bilayer because there are two layers of phospholipid that is attached within and among each other. So the hydrophobic tail attached to each other and the hydrophilic head can be located in the interior and the exterior part of the cell. You have to realize that the body is composed of 50 to 60% water. Therefore, in cellular level or in the microscopic level, there are also presence of water. So water is located inside the cell and also it is located outside of the cell. And the hydrophilic head is attracted to water. Hence, the arrangement of the phospholipid bilayer looks like this one. Kaintindihan? So the orientation of the hydrophilic head is within the outside or outside and interior part of the cell. Okay? Kasi nga ito po ay hydrophilic. Hydrophobic tail naman, no, yung mga fatty acid ay naka-orient sa loob, since they do not like to form bond with water, therefore, iniwasan nila yung water and they are located inside of the cell membrane kung saan wala pong water. Okay? Animal cell membrane contain cholesterol, a steroid with polar hydroxyl group. So na pag nakita tayo ng OH, no, in chemistry, we refer to it as alcohol or hydroxyl group. And in animal cell, just like mentioned in here, there are cholesterol, which are precursor of different hormones. Pag sinabing precursor, dito nagsisimula or ito yung base or genesis or beginning of the creation of the hormones, no? But technically speaking, when we talk about cholesterol, this is just another form of fats, no? So, aside sa phospholipid, meron ding cholesterol that is integrated within the phospholipid. Hence, the ability of the fluidity of the cell membrane is also associated to the cholesterol that is integrated or embedded within the phospholipid bilayer. So, ibig sabihin, in general, yung ating fluidity ay may kinalaman din sa cholesterol. Just like what I've mentioned in the previous thing, pag mataas ang temperature, ano nangyari sa fats? No, they can be liquid. But in lower temperature, they can become solid. So, yun yung mga pwede natin tignan na aspect. No? So, fluidity of the membrane has something to do also with the fatty acids. Okay? So, there are reason why the cell membrane looks like a well-designed phospholipid bilayer. It has something to do with the ability of the fatty acid and the bonding within the fatty acid. So you have to realize that if you're going to look at the picture in the left side, this one, yung merong kink na tinatawag, no? Pag sinabing may kink, meron siyang, hindi siya straight, no? Meron siyang kulot na kaunti, no? So this type of hydrocarbons, bakit hydrocarbons? Kaway po siya sa carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So yun po, doon po gawa ang fatty acid. So meron tayong tinatawag na unsaturated hydrocarbons wherein they are kink or meron silang kulot. So if you're going to look at the picture at the left side, there are fatty acids that have different kink or may kulot. They have double bonds. So yun nangyari, nagugulo yung orientation ng cell membrane kasi nga may mga gaps na kailangan pang i-fill up, no? But in saturated hydrocarbons, like as you can see in the left side, yung viscous one, ano nakikita natin? The arrangement of the tail of the phospholipid is maayos kasi nga the kink or the saturation of the hydrocarbon is puro single bond, no? Pagka single bond, diretso lang. Pag may double bond, nagkakaroon ng king-king na tinatawag. And cholesterol reduces membrane fluidity at moderate temperature, but low temperature hinders solidification. So just like what I mentioned, higher temperature can make the cell membrane more fluid. Low temperature can make the cell membrane solidify. So kailangan optimal temperature tayo palagi, no? In between lamang to achieve homeostasis and for the cell membrane to function well. So ito yung sasabi natin, no? Cholesterol is very essential in our cell membrane. But again, just like what we always do, lahat ng sobra, lahat ng kulang ay masama. So kailangan moderate amount lang na kailangan ng ating katawan at ng cell membrane. So if we ingest food that are rich in cholesterol, so magkakaroon tayo ng problema dyan. Ano? So dapat sakto lang. So when our body or the cell is introduced in a cold temperature, the cell membrane become rigid. So ano mangyari if it is rigid? It is not flexible enough. It is not fluid enough. It may break and the cell transport cannot commence when we have cold temperature, no? On the other hand, pagka mainit naman, what happens, no? Kagaya sinabi ko kanina, pag mainit or when we are introduced or the cell is introduced to high temperature, the bond between there, no, the cholesterol started to become too fluid. Sobra-sobra naman yung pagiging fluidity, no? Nagiging sobrang flexible. What happens to the cell membrane when this happens? Nagkakaroon ng disruption ng shape. Hindi na maintain yung integrity or structural integrity of the cell. Hence, what will happen? The molecule that wants to enter and exit can easily penetrate and exit the cell. Therefore, it is not very helpful to the cell. So, dapat laging balance to achieve homeostasis. And glycolipids are located in the cell membrane surface for sugar attachment. Usually, it is used for cell recognition, no? There are enzymes that are specific in nature. So, ibig sabihin, meron silang target na cell. So, for example, yung ating testosterone, no, ay kailangan sa ating testis. For example, for male production of sperm cell, pupunta lang dapat siya, yung hormone, doon sa testis at hindi na siya pwede pumunta sa other part of the cell. For example, so, kailangan natin ng mga markers, no? Kumbaga sa CT, meron tayong mga landmarks that will signifies this is the specific place wherein the specific molecule needs to penetrate the cell. Hindi lahat dapat pupuntahan ng enzyme, no? At saka ng hormones. May mga specific lang sila na pupuntahan. Pag-aaralan natin yan sa endocrine system, GenBio 2. But in general, in cellular level, there are glycolipids that serves as the cell marker. Okay. So next one, we have the integral and peripheral membrane. So when we talk about integral protein, by the term itself, integrated or integral, these are the proteins that are inserted into the cell membrane and passes through the cell membrane. No? Kapag sinabing integral protein, through and through palagi ito. So from the outside part of the cell to the inside part of the cell. The protein channels or integral membrane aids the communication of the cell from one part of the cell to the another, and also it allows transport mechanism or movement of the cell, of the molecule inside the cell. Next one, we also have the peripheral membrane. Pag sinabing peripheral or peripheral vision, makikita saan? Sa gilid. When we talk about peripheral membrane, these are located in the protein exterior that is connected within the cell membrane. So, hindi siya nasa gitna. No? Nasa gilid lang dapat ang peripheral membrane. In the picture, you can see in here that the peripheral protein is located and attached to the hydrophilic head of the phospholipid bilayer, while the integral protein is located through and through inside and outside of the cell membrane. So, these are the different functions of the cell membrane protein. So, we have 6. First and foremost, the very reason why we study this one is for transport mechanism. Pag sinabing transport, movement of one molecule from one place to the another. May it be entrance or exit of the molecule inside or outside of the cell. That is very evident. Okay? Second one, we talk about enzymatic activity. No? Enzymes are very essential in speeding up chemical reaction inside the body or inside the cell. So the enzyme just like what I have mentioned, is very essential for different metabolic processes. No? Next one, we also have signal transduction. When we talk about signal transduction, these are the different processes that are involved inside the cell. So, meron tayong tinatawag na cascade of events. So, pagkakasunod-sunod na event, no? Paano ba tayo nagkakaroon ng vision? Sige, let us give that as an example. So, technically, when photon or light enters our eyes, it goes to the retina, which is located at the back part of our eye. And the retina have different cells called as rod cells and cone cells. So, yung rod cells and cone cell are very specific type of cell that do signal transduction. So, ano nangyari sa signal? Yung signal molecule will send a neurotransmitter to the receptor, and the receptor will send signal doon sa signal transduction papunta sa ating brain, and the interpretation happens in our brain. So inulit natin, mahalaga ang protein because it helps in signal transduction. As you can see in the picture, the protein are integrated again in the cell membrane, so talagang mahalaga po ito. For the fourth one, letter D, cell-to-cell recognition, glycoprotein or the fusion of sugar and protein is essential for cell-to-cell recognition or communication. No? Para makapag-communicate ang isang cell sa isa pang cell, there are protein that is essential para masabi yung dapat masabi or makommunicate yung dapat makommunicate. Next one, we have the intercellular joining. When we talk about intercellular joining, no? In tissue level, you have to realize that one cell is connected within the another cell, no? Lalo na in multicellular organism, no? We are referring to multicellular organism, that goes beyond tissue level, no? And joining of one cell to the another will be possible and feasible with the help of number 1, cytoskeleton, number 2, cell membrane, and number 3, intercellular joining of different protein that is integrated with the cell membrane. So mahalaga po 'yun. Ano? Hindi po 'yan isang bilog at saka isang bilog lamang. Dapat magkadikit sila. O meron tayong tinatawag na junction. And later on we will discuss what junction is. For the sixth one, we have the attachment of the cytoskeleton and the extracellular matrix or ECM. It's like what I've mentioned, there are 3 things that we need to look into para mangyari yung cell-to-cell adhesion. Cytoskeleton must be present, cell membrane must be present, and lastly, we have the intercellular joining or protein molecules. Now, we have here another function of the cell membrane, which is for transport. Inulit natin when we talk about transport mechanism, it's just the movement of the molecule inside or outside of the cell. And our topic for today will revolve on the transport protein, no? Such as channel and carrier protein. So there are 2 types of transport protein in the cell membrane. For the first one, we have the channel protein. When we talk about channel, no? It serves as a medium. Di ba? Pag channel, ito yung dinadaanan ng isang bagay. So, ganun din in cellular membrane. Channel protein allows particular molecule or ion to cross cell membrane or plasma membrane. So, there are different diseases like cystic fibrosis. It is characterized by thickening of the mucus. So, ano nangyari dito? This genetic disease is characterized by improper production of protein. So, halimbawa, meron tayong cystic fibrosis. Pag merong cystic fibrosis ang isang tao, nagkakaroon ng difference when it comes to genetics or genes. Eh, di ba, in our previous discussion, we have realized or have taught you that genes are the one that helps or dictates what will happen inside the cell. It also dictates on what type of protein that will be created. Ngayon, kung meron kang cystic fibrosis, meron kang difficulty producing specific channel protein. So kapag nagkaroon ka ng channel protein deficiency or merong modification na nangyari, technically magkakaroon ng hindrance. Yung iyong yung normal na metabolic processes ng iyong katawan, in cystic fibrosis, ang nangyari, no? It is characterized by or caused by a faulty chloride channel. So makikita natin yung protein channel that is specific for chloride is compromised. Hence, kapag nagkaroon ng difficulty dito, ano mangyari? The molecule chloride cannot enter the cell anymore. And that is not very beneficial within the cell. Kailangan may chloride sa loob ng cell, no? Kasi nga kailangan siya sa loob ng cell. So ano mangyari? Usually, it is characterized by a thick mucus collect in the airway and pancreatic duct and liver. So ayun nangyari sa mga may taong may cystic fibrosis. Imagine natin isang protein lang yung nawala or nagkulang sa ating cell, and it can adversely impact how the life of human can work. So ganun po ka-importante yung protein sa ating katawan. Okay? Second is the carrier protein. Kung ang channel protein serves as a medium na daanan or pathway lamang, si carrier protein by the term itself carries the molecule inside or outside of the cell, no? Syempre, it exhibit selective interaction within the molecule, no? May mga bagay lang siya na pwedeng papasukin at palabasin. Hindi lahat ng gustong pumasok sa cell, papasukin niya. Meron silang dapat na characteristic. One of the things that enters the cell is none other than glucose, no? And the specific carrier protein for that is the GLUT carrier or GLUT carrier, no? This transfers the glucose inside and outside of the cell, and it helps in sodium-potassium pump. Yung sodium-potassium pump, later on we will discuss, but in theory or generally speaking, sugar is essential inside the cell because sugar or glucose is the primary ingredient in creating ATP or energy within the cell. So kung wala tayong sugar na papasok, technically, wala po tayong energy. Kaya po kailangan natin kumain every day para magkaroon po tayo ng energy in cellular level, no? Para makapag-produce tayo ng ATP with the help of the mitochondria, which is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Yan. So ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, no, na-discuss natin yung A, B, C, D, E, and F. In addition to that, the tight junction. No? Junction proteins are involved in forming various type of junction between animal cell. No? Signaling molecule that pass through gap junction allows the cilia of cell that line the respiratory tract to beat in unison. So if you're going to zoom in this part, ayan. So the tight junction, technically or literally, is the junction between one cell to the another. So as you can see in here, this is the first cell, yung may nucleus. Sa katabi niyan sa kanan, meron din yung cell. Sa katabi niyan sa kaliwa, meron ding cell. No? For specific cell to perform same function, they need to have a tight junction that acts as a signaling area to the neighboring cell, no, para magkaroon sila ng iisang movement. In our trachea, which is located sa ating malapit sa throat, no? Anong ginagawa ng trachea natin? It has a cilia, no, or ciliated po 'yan. Ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Meaning they have cilia. And what is the movement of the cilia? Yung cilia po, class, they move in unison. Ano ibig sabihin ng unison? They beat or move in one direction. Kung lahat ay pa-right, dapat lahat ay pa-right. Kung lahat ay pa-left, dapat pa-left lahat. So generally speaking, for this movement to become unison or in one motion, signal must need to be transferred or transmitted from one cell to the neighboring cell para iisa ang ating galaw, no? For example, there are pathogen that enters the trachea para po yan malabas outside of our system kapag tayo ay nag-cough or nag-sneeze, kailangan gumalaw ng ating cilia. Cilia, unison motion can be characterized by the tight junction communication within and among the neighboring cell. Okay? Glycoprotein helps body recognize specific invaders. Ayan. So si glycoprotein, pag merong gustong pumasok and alam ng katawan natin na ito po ay foreign at hindi pa siya recognize, so there can be a white blood cell that can help, no, eliminate this pathogen that is not beneficial in cell. Ayan. So now let us talk about the two types of transport mechanism, no? We have the passive transport, we also have the active transport. When we talk about passive transport, we are referring to the substance movement from higher concentration to lower concentration. I want you to focus first on the left side, GIF left side, okay? So as you can see, if you're going to count the total number of molecule from the left side, sa diffusion, we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nakita ba? Nasa left side. And then there are 3 molecules that goes to the right side. no? Yung sa diffusion. So that is the very essence of passive transport, no? The movement is from higher concentration. Yung color green ay merong 9 molecule, yung nasa color orange or pink naman ay may 3 molecule. So for us to achieve homeostasis, no? Molecule needs to transfer from one place to the another, and then the movement, pag movement is from higher concentration to lower concentration, we call it as a passive diffusion. Okay? So, pag sinabi ring passive, no, these are energy independent. Meaning, hindi na natin kailangan ng energy or ng ATP, adenosine triphosphate, for this type of mechanism to happen. No? Inulit natin when we talk about passive transport. One thing that you need to consider, we do not need energy or ATP. Second, the movement of the molecule is from higher concentration to lower concentration. So those are the different things that you need to consider or think of when we talk about passive transport. So there are 3 types of passive transport. We have the simple diffusion, no, yun makikita natin sa ating left side. The facilitated diffusion, makikita sa right side, and the osmosis. Later on, I will show a picture or diagram that will explain how does osmosis happens. But if we're going to look at the difference of simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion, meron po tayong difference na makikita. Tama ba? If we're going to look at the GIF, both of the movement is from higher to lower concentration, but there are difference. So ano yung pinagkaiba po nila? Si facilitated diffusion, meron nag-facilitate ng movement. Kaya nga siya tinatawag na facilitated diffusion. So there are protein channels that facilitate the mechanism to happen. On the other hand, simple diffusion, by the term itself simple, no, nag-pass through lang yung molecule sa cell membrane, no? From higher concentration to lower concentration. Yan. So if we're going to look at this one, simple diffusion is a process that results from random motion of molecule. Time and time again will tell us that passive transport mechanism, simple diffusion, movement is from higher concentration to lower concentration. Ayun lang laging tatandaan natin, ano? Factor affecting the speed of the molecule includes the size. Siyempre, the size of the molecule is very essential, no? For it to allow, or for the cell membrane to allow it to enter the cell or exit the cell, no? Mahalaga yung size sa molecule. Second, we also need to talk about the temperature, no? Bakit po mahalaga yung temperature? It has something to do with the fluidity of the cell membrane, no? There are cholesterol that is integrated, lipids that is integrated within the cell membrane. Therefore, the temperature plays a crucial role on how does the transport mechanism, simple diffusion, will commence. Kapag sobrang lamig ng temperature, magiging mabilis kaya yung movement? Ang ating kasagutan ay hindi po ate. Kasi nga, rigid ang cell membrane, therefore, compact, no? Or meron lang little space from one lipid layer to the another or from one phospholipid to the another, kaya hindi agad makakapasok or medyo mabagal yung diffusion, no? Concentration is also essential, no? Since the movement, simple diffusion only relies on the concentration gradient difference. So, kung ang higher concentration natin ay, for example, 100 sa left side, sa lower concentration natin ay 0 or walang molecule. So technically, napakabilis ng pangyayari, no? Or mabilis yung movement of molecule. Pero kung for example naman, sa left side natin, meron tayong 51. Sa right side na lower concentration ay meron tayong 49. Medyo matagal yun, no? Mangyari kasi nga, one molecule lang ang kailangan na lumipat sa right side. Medyo mabagal, no? Charges and pressure also plays a vital role. Charges of different molecule, no, because we have an ion or negatively charged particle that needs to cross among or within the cell membrane. Therefore, charges are also included. Pressure are also essential because since the cell interior and exterior is made up of fluid, no, yung pressure mahalaga din yan, no, para malaman natin kung paano papasok at lalabas ang isang molecule. Siyempre, the greater pressure can propose a faster movement, no? So ito yung example ng simple diffusion. If you're familiar with the picture, so we have 3 series of picture. Time and time again will tell us that simple diffusion happens when the concentration starts from higher to lower. So in part A, in the left side, crystal of dye is placed in the water. So ano mangyari? After quite some time, the fusion happens within the water molecule and dye molecule. So anong nangyari? Nagdi-diffuse yung higher concentration ng dye na cube punta sa ibang water molecule. And again, after quite some time, nagkakaroon tayo ng equilibrium or balance state. Di ba nga, the very essence why we do transport mechanism in simple diffusion is for us to achieve homeostasis or balance state. When we reach the equilibrium or balance state, doon na mag-stop yung simple diffusion. In our third image, in the letter C, equal distribution happens where in the dye concentration and water concentration is in its balanced state. Next one, if you are done with the simple diffusion, we also have facilitated diffusion. When we talk about facilitated diffusion, again, the root word is facilitated. No, merong nag-facilitate, merong medium, merong channel that allows the movement of the molecule. Transport protein that is integrated within the cell membrane speed up the passive transport mechanism. No, yung nakikita natin dito na color dark blue, no, pwede yung channel protein, pwede yung carrier protein. Yung channel protein class makikita sa left side, yung may red na triangle. Yung carrier protein naman that is located in the right side with rectangle the may color blue. Transport protein moves substance down their concentration gradient. Ganun pa rin to class from higher to lower concentration pa rin yan. Changing the facilitated diffusion, changing its shape when bound to the molecule like glucose and reverting to the original shape after releasing the molecule. So ito class, makikita natin yung channel protein na ito, they modify themselves para i-cater yung specific molecule. Kung ang shape mo ay box or rectangle, the channel protein will modify itself to cater you and allows you to enter the cell or exit the cell, forming a permanent open channel through membrane. So makikita natin dito sa facilitated diffusion when we have channel protein, no, yung meron tayong tunnel, no, ano na yan, permanent na yan kasi open channels yan. Forming gated channels that opens and close in response to stimulus such as binding to signal molecule or shift in electrical charges. So cascading of information from one cell to the another, for example, in neuron, may mga gated channel, may mga kailangan kang molecule para mag-transfer yung signal. So therefore, kailangan din mag-modify ng mga binding site and also kailangan din ng stimulus, no, para mangyari yung mechanism na ito. Facilitated diffusion, as you can see in here, sa left side, part A, we have the channel protein. Sa B, right side, we have carrier protein. So what is the difference? When we talk about channel protein facilitated diffusion, bukas lang siya, no? Bukas lang siya na may tunnel, no? Because again, channel protein serves as a tunnel for the transport to happen. On the other hand, in the right side, part B, this is the facilitated diffusion for carrier protein, no? It modified itself, the protein modified itself para makater yung box shape and it allows the molecule transportation. So makikita natin dito, in here we can see a channel protein. Bakit channel protein? Because there is a tunnel, no? Fixed na yung kanyang position ng protein and hindi na siya nagmo-modify. Channel protein forming permanently open channels through cell membrane, no? While carrier protein nagmo-modify siya ng shape, forming gated channels that open and close in response to stimulus such as binding to signal molecule or shift in electrical charges. So the possible reason kung bakit lang magsasarado itong open channel kapag merong stimulus na nag-trigger sa channel protein. Next one, you have the carrier protein. I want you to observe the GIF that can be located in the right side and then the blue one. That is the carrier protein. It changes itself so that it can help or form bond with the molecule that wants to enter the cell. So for example, we have here a glucose molecule, the hexagonal yellow one that wants to enter the cell. Anong nangyayari doon sa channel protein? Channel protein modify its shape to allow the movement of the glucose papunta ng cell. So that is the carrier protein. Okay? One of the special passive transport is what we know as osmosis. So recall lang natin, there are three types of passive transport, namely the simple diffusion, the facilitated diffusion, and lastly, for the passive transport, we have the special example of diffusion, which is osmosis. When we talk about osmosis, we are referring to water, no? Water and concentration of solute. It is a diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane from an area of low solute concentration to higher solute concentration. So, ano nangyari dito? Try to observe the GIF that can be located in the left side of the screen, lower left. What happens on the movement of the cell? No? Just like what we have mentioned in here, ano nangyari? The semi-permeable membrane from an area of lower solute concentration and a higher solute concentration. Nakikita natin GIF, the water moved outside, no? Outside of the cell or papunta sa right side rather. So, dito naman tayo pumunta sa right picture, no? Meron tayong U-tube, literal na letter U ang tube, and then we have a permeable or selective permeable membrane na nakalagay dyan. So, ano ma-observe natin? You have to realize that the solute concentration plays a crucial role on how does molecule will transfer from one place to the another, no? Tingnan muna natin dito, ano, in our upper part, no, dito sa lower concentration of sodium chloride and then higher concentration of solute, ano nangyari? Water goes to the right side and then ano nangyari sa U-shaped tube or U-tube in short? Ang nakikita natin nagkaroon ng from kanina equal yung kanilang meniscus, no? Nakita natin dito sa U-tube shape sa right side na umangat doon sa right side. Bakit kaya umangat, no? Again, the primary reason for osmosis to happen is to achieve homeostasis or balanced state. So what are the tendency? The solute concentration or more similar concentration of solute transfer to the right side. Hence, the leveling of the water or the meniscus of the water is oriented in that manner. No, umangat yung nasa right side, yung nasa left side naman medyo bumaba kasi kailangan nga mag-balance at ma-achieve ang homeostasis. No, if we're going to explore this on animal and plant cell, no, there are different type of tonicity. Tonicity, T-O-N-I-C-I-T, ayan nakalagay dyan. Tonicity is the ability of the surrounding solution to cause a cell to gain or lose water. Again, since earlier we have mentioned that solute like water and salt plays a crucial role on how does a cell behave. Also, it is important for us to discuss the tonicity and its effect to animal and plant cell. So when we have a hypertonic solution, ibig sabihin nito, greater ang salt concentration or solute concentration. So what are the tendency? Water is being pulled outside the cell, no? Ulitin natin, ang hypertonic solution, sobrang daming solute outside. So what are the tendency? Para ma-balance yung outside part, water needs to be pulled outside of the cell to balance the concentration outside. So ano nangyari? When water leaves the cell, nagiging shriveled yung animal cell. Nangangaluntoy, pumapayat, numinipis. Similar with plant cell, no? Nagiging plasmolized. No, water is being drawn outside of the cell. When we talk about isotonic, no, pag sinabing iso, same. So, ibig sabihin, the solute concentration of the water is equal to the concentration inside of the cell. So, what are the tendency? If we have the isotonic solution, anong mangyari? The animal cell and the plant cell will become normal and flaccid respectively. So, ibig sabihin, kung same lang sila ng concentration ng solution sa labas at saka sa loob, walang mangyari na transport mechanism kasi nga balanced state na siya already. On the other hand, when we have hypotonic solution, ano meron sa hypotonic solution? No? Hypotonic solution naman, water enters inside of the cell. And when water enters inside of the cell, what will happen? It will undergo lysis or lysis, puputok o sasabog. And we do not want that to happen, no? We do not want so much water that enters inside the cell, specifically animal cell. Sa plant cell, magiging turgid lang yan, no? Kasi meron naman siyang large central vacuole that can accommodate the entrance of water. So, Technically, that will happen in plant cell, magiging turgid. Ang animal cell naman magiging lyse or puputok, magkakaroon ng lysis when it introduced to hypotonic solution. In general, these are the things that I want you to remember. Please do remember this one because this might be part of the examination. When we talk about hypertonic solution, high solute concentration and there is a low free water. So what are the tendency? Water will leave the cell. Kasi nga masyadong high concentration ng solute sa labas and to balance it, water is essential, no? O lalabas yung water palabas ng cell. As a result, water moves outside of the cell and the cell will shrink. In isotonic solution, equal ang solute concentration sa loob ng cell at saka sa labas ng cell. Therefore, equal and free ang water concentration and there is a no net movement of water within the cell. For the hypotonic solution, the concentration of solute outside of the cell is lower and greater naman yung nasa loob. So ano mangyari? Para mabalance yung salt sa loob ng cell, water needs to enter the cell and then as a result, water moves into the cell and the cell will swell, then start to lyse or lysis. L-Y-S-I-S. Puputok, no? Kapag sobrang dami ng water. So ito ulit siya, class. So for animal cell, we have hypotonic, maglalysis. Pag plant cell naman, magtuturgid or lalaki yung kanyang central vacuole. For isotonic solution in animal cell, it is normal. For plant cell naman, isotonic will become flaccid. No, normal din yan. For hypertonic naman in animal cell, it will shrivel or mga ngaluntoy. For plant cell, magiging plasmolized. No? Liliit ng kaunti yung plant cell. So we are done with passive transport. Again, let us just recall, we have three types. Simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and also the osmosis, a special part of passive transport. Now, let us proceed on active transport. Active transport, again, no, needs ATP or energy. Kaya nga siya tinawag na active. Unlike transport, active transport needs ATP, no? And to realize that the difference of active and passive transport is that active transport movement is from lower concentration to higher concentration. So magkaiba yung class ha. Yung active transport, the movement is from lower concentration to higher concentration. Hence, we need ATP or energy for this transport mechanism to happen or commence. No, kasi you are going against the flow already. Kung ang natural movement natin is from higher concentration to lower concentration, dito sa active transport, we are going against the current. Kumbaga kapag ikaw ay nasa ilog, no, at tumatawid ka sa ilog against the current, you will be needing more energy. Unlike kung ikaw ay tumatawid sa ilog na goes within and go with the flow of the current. Nasusundan? So, ganun lang din dito sa active transport. You need more energy or ATP para mangyari yung paggalaw ng movement or molecule. Active transport requires energy, usually in form of ATP hydrolysis. What does ATP hydrolysis means? To simply put it in term, ATP, alam na natin yan, adenosine triphosphate. But the term hydrolysis is just a breaking down of ATP, turning ATP into ADP with the help of water. So water is being break down and the bond there helps the synthesis of ATP and becoming an ADP. So cycle yun, cyclic from ATP to ADP. Kapag na-release yung phosphorus sa ATP, naging ADP, nagkakaroon na ng energy. Yun yung tinutukoy natin sa ATP hydrolysis. All proteins involved in active transport are carrier protein. Okay? Carrier protein lang po ang kailangan natin sa active transport, unlike passive transport that we have carrier protein and also channel protein. In active transport, carrier protein lang ang ating kailangan. In our picture, there are different examples known as sodium-potassium pump. Bakit tinawag na sodium-potassium pump? Very basic. We need sodium and potassium for this type of transport to happen. And usually this happens in our muscle cell. Ayan. So unang-una, first part, sodium-potassium pumps create an ion gradient. No? Nagkakaroon tayo ng different ions. Since these are charged particle, particularly our cation or positively charged ion, we have potassium that has a positive 1 net charge and Sodium and potassium both have positive 1 net charge, kaya siya tinawag na ion gradient channel. Okay? So, sa second part, sodium or glucose, glucose import, transport, loading glucose from ECF. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? Si glucose kasama si sodium ay pumapasok sa loob and we call it as symport transporter. Pag sinabing symport, the movement of the molecule is similar. So, bakit natin siya tinawag symport? Because the movement of both sodium and glucose is similar. They want to both enters the cell. Hence, we call it simple transport. Ano ba yung ECF? No? ECF stands for extracellular cytosolic fluid. So, sa loob na yan ng cytoplasm, sa loob na yan ng cell. Sodium, glucose, symport, transport, release glucose to the cytoplasm. So, makikita natin, sa simula, meron tayong sodium sa labas ng cell, but after the transport happens, sodium enters kasama ng glucose. Kumbaga, ito yung mga pasabay, no? Kumbaga sa maleta or sa mga nag-abroad, ito yung mga pasabay na pabili para mag-transport. Okay. Try to observe this mechanism. Try to observe the GIF. This signifies and explains primary active transport. Ang example natin is sodium-potassium pump. Again, sodium-potassium both have a positive net charge. So the movement of substance against the concentration gradient to membrane protein using ATP directly. So makita natin, we need ATP kasi nga, we are going against the current. No? Kailangan natin ng energy kasi nga, hindi ito yung normal na simple diffusion lamang. For example, an animal cell for cell that has a much higher potassium and a much lower sodium concentration compared to its surrounding. So, tingin tayo dito. The potassium is the green one. The sodium is the yellow one. In generally speaking or theoretically speaking, sodium that can be located with the with the consumption of the salt and potassium or ingestion of potassium that is rich in banana is essential talaga sa ating cellular level. So mahalaga na namimit natin yung mga macronutrients na ito, no? At saka mga elements na ito like sodium and potassium. Okay? This is the controlled by sodium-potassium pump, a transport protein that is energized by the transfer of phosphate group from hydrolyzed ATP. Sige, tingnan natin. So, unang-unang step dyan, tingin muna tayo sa right side. Unang-unang step, yung color yellow, the sodium 1, enters the carrier protein. Then, the ATP binds to the carrier protein, magiging ADP yan. So, phosphorus is being used as an energy. And then, anong nangyari? Bumuka yung ating carrier protein, pumasok yung dalawang sodium, and then, kasabay ng pagpasok ng dalawang potassium, pwedeng pumasok din yung mga glucose. No? So, technically speaking, when we talk about sodium-potassium pump, tatlo ang kailangan na lumabas na sodium, dalawa ang kailangan pumasok na potassium, we need ATP or energy para mangyari ito. Yun lang siya in general. Okay? So, these are the different steps in a much more clearer perspective. Start tayo sa number 1. In number 1, what happens? No? 3 sodium molecule will bind to the carrier protein, and then what happens after? We'll try sa number 2. In number 2, ATP ATP hydrolysis happens. Again, ATP hydrolysis is just a usage of ATP, phosphorus, and becoming an ADP. Okay, so makikita natin, pagka-bind ng ATP, anong nangyari? Nagkaroon ng release of phosphorus at nagkaroon ng ADP or adenosine diphosphate. When phosphorus is being released in ATP, nagkakaroon tayo ng energy harnessing. So doon ang gagaling energy. Okay? Pagka gamit ng energy, magkakaroon ng different orientation ng carrier protein. Bubuka siya palabas. Nakikita natin? And pag bumuka siya palabas, na nakikita? Tatlong sodium will exit the cell, and then pag nakabuka ito, anong mangyayari? Didikit naman ang dalawang potassium, and then pagkadikit ang dalawang potassium, anong mangyayari? Phosphorus is being released within the carrier protein, and then it will again go back to its original state wherein it is oriented open papunta ng cell. So technically, the potassium will enter the cell, no? And then the cycle continues hanggat sa ma-achieve natin yung homeostasis or balance. Okay? Ayan, we also have this type of active transport called a secondary, no? In secondary active transport, movement of one substance against its concentration gradient by coupling it to movement with another molecule, no? So kanina, yung active transport natin, ang movement natin ay isa lang, no? Or isa lang. Kung papasok mo muna yung isa, papasok muna yung isa. Kung lalabas muna yung isa, lalabas muna yung isa. Dito naman sa secondary, meron tayong tinatawag na coupling movement. Ibig sabihin, simultaneous na nangyari yung movement. Pwedeng papasok yung isa, tapos sasabay na lumabas yung isa, or vice versa. Pwedeng pares papasok, dalawa parehas lalabas. The decision of actively transported solute down in concentration gradient is coupled with transport of secondary substance against its own concentration gradient. Secondary active transport uses the energy stored in this gradient to move other substances against their own gradient. So there are two types lang naman nito, no? The symport and antiport. Yan. So in secondary active transport, the two molecule being transport may move either in the same direction. For example, pwedeng pumasok sila pares ng cell. Pwede namang magkaiba, yung isa papasok, yung isa lalabas, no? Again, this secondary active transport is very essential, no? In cell because it can serves as an energy dito. It can serve as an energy maximization of the cell, no? Imagine mo kung lahat ng movement across the cell membrane kailangan ng energy, maubos ang ATP natin, no? So, good thing we have secondary active transport. With that being said, kahit kagaya nito, isang ATP lang yung kailangan natin para mangyari itong transport mechanism. Okay? Ayan. So, ang movement na again, pwedeng on opposite direction, pwede namang similar direction. No? When we talk about antiport, ano ibig sabihin ng antiport? Sinabing anti or anti, the movement of the molecule is different, no? Kung lalabas yung isa, papasok yung isa, no? That is the antiport. Pag sinabi namang symport, pag sinabing sym, same ang movement, no? Pag kapapasok ang parehas na molecule, papasok. Pag lalabas ang parehas na molecule, lalabas. So again, we have antiport, which have different anti or different orientation. Pag papasok yung isa, lalabas yung isa. Pag symport naman, same. Transportation, similar ng movement. Pag lalabas yung isa, lalabas yung isa. Pag pumasok yung isa, papasok din yung isa. Another type of active transport is what we call the bulk transport. When we talk about bulk transport, bulk, bultuhan, ibig sabihin we are referring to large molecule that enters or exit the cell. No? There are two type of bulk transport, namely the endocytosis and exocytosis. Realize that bulk transport happen with the help of the vesicle within the cell. Ulitin natin vesicle serves as a transport vehicle within the cell, no, and it allows the transport of molecule outside of the cell or pwedeng inside or toward the cell. Okay? So what can be observed in the endocytosis? Endocytosis movement is papasok. Pag sinabing endo, inside. So, generally speaking, no, vesicle is formed with the help of the phospholipid bilayer. So, nangyari, nagpo-form ng vesicle. Nagdidikit-dikit yung phospholipid and then, nangyari nagkakaroon ng bubble inside and the bubble inside acts as a space that will transport the molecule or bulk of molecule papasok ng cell. The membrane fold over the substance and it becomes completely enclosed by the membrane. At this point, a membrane-bound sac or vesicle, as we call it, pinches off and move the substance into the cytosol of the cytoplasm. So nakita natin basta ang ating idea lagi pag endocytosis, the movement is from outside to inside. That is endocytosis. When we talk about phagocytosis, no? It is the type of an endocytosis, no? Pag sinabing endocytosis, pag sinabing phagocytosis naman, pag sinabing phago, no, these are cell eating. They engulf or eat anything that will on its way, no? It occurs when the dissolved materials enters the cell, the plasma membrane engulf the solid material forming a phagocytic vesicle. Now we have here pseudomonium of the amoeba. So ano nangyari dito? Ini-engulf or pinapasok niya sa loob ng cell niya yung molecule, and then ano mangyari? It will ingest it. So we can see here one example of or type of the endocytosis is phagocytosis. Next one, we also have pinocytosis. Pag sinabi ng pinocytosis, we're referring to cell drinking. Phago, cell eating, pheno, cell drinking. Occurs when the plasma membrane folds inwards, ibig sabihin papasok na naman to kasi nga endocytosis. And the one thing that you need to consider in pinocytosis is it refers to water or solute that enters the vesicle inside of the cell. So we have pinocytosis. Next one, another type of endocytosis, we have the receptor-mediated endocytosis. Ang pinagkaiba lang nito sa phagocytosis is that it has a receptor, no? Na syempre gawa sa protein. Again, if you're going to look at the receptor in the right side, no, nakikita nyo ba yung parang letter Y sa loob, no? These are coated vesicle with specific receptor, yung color red na letter Y. That receptor is made up of protein and carbohydrates, and it also helps in different metabolic processes that happens inside the cell. Ulitin natin ha, let us just recall endocytosis. There are 3 types of endocytosis. First one, we have the phagocytosis, the cell-eating, phagocytosis, the cell-drinking, and the receptor-mediated, wherein receptor is integrated within the vesicle. For the last one, you have the exocytosis. Kung ang endo ay papasok, ang exo naman ay palabas. This describes the process of vesicle fusing with the plasma membrane, and when it fused to plasma membrane, the component of the vesicle is being released outside of the cell. Okay, pag sa exo, palabas lang yan. So ano kaya mga pwedeng ilabas sa cell? No? Yung mga waste product or mga waste materials ng ating katawan. No? Yun yung mga pwedeng ilabas ng cell, or pwede rin namang mga protein or other molecule that is essential or needed by the neighboring cell. So ganun po, or ay po yung mga pwedeng lumabas. So to summarize our discussion, no, these are the things that you need to consider, no, the different types of cellular transport. When we talk about diffusion, there is no energy required for this to happen. The direction of the substance is from higher concentration to lower concentration. Essential related factor, concentration gradient, because the fusion will not happen without the concentration gradient. Example of transported substance are lipid-soluble, molecule, water, and gases. For the type of cellular transport, second one, we have the facilitated diffusion. There is no energy required. The movement is from higher concentration to lower concentration. One of the things that we need to consider in facilitated diffusion is that it needs protein channel, a carrier protein, plus the concentration gradient for it to happen. Some of the molecule that passes through this membrane or this mechanism, the facilitated one, is the sugar and amino acid. Because technically, these are larger molecule compared to simple diffusion na kaya niya mag-passes through the phospholipid bilayer. Next one, we have the active transport. Technically, it needs energy. Primary direction is from, baliktaran naman, no? From lower concentration to higher concentration. What are the essential things that we need to consider in active transport? We need number 1, energy. Second, we need carrier protein for it to happen. One of the things that passes through the active transport are the sugar, acid, and ion, no? Because these are ion-gated channels, no? For endocytosis, we need energy. And the primary direction of movement is papasok ng cell, no? Or inside or in the interior of the cell. We need vesicle for it to happen, and example of transported molecule are the macromolecule, no? Yung mga large molecule na kailangan ng cell natin. Another, for the last type, is the exocytosis. Kailangan natin ng energy, yes, no? We need energy for exocytosis to happen. The direction of the movement is from inside of the cell towards the exterior part of the cell, and one of the essential things that we need to consider is the vesicle in the cell membrane. So we also need, or the molecular transport are the macromolecules. So that would be all for our discussion, no? And I'm going to cut our discussion, and that would be all. Thank you.